Hey YouTube, it's Steve over at Tower Genius. So here's a quick video. This is a scenario that we see sometimes. It actually just came across our desk very recently. So let's say I'm just going to change some of the entities here just to protect the innocent. So so let's say you're a property owner. You have a building, an office building, whatever, 5, 6, 7-story building. And you have a carrier on your rooftop. Let's just call it US Cellular or AT&T or whatever, T-Mobile, Verizon, one of those four. And you sold a perpetual easement to one of the buyout companies. You cashed out, but you were smart, right? You didn't give them the whole lease, the whole rooftop. You gave them only the leased portion, right? So 80% of your roof is still available for other tenants to locate on. And you're in an area where you have a pretty good site. You're not the only site, but you have a pretty good area. And you get a knock on the door from a tower company, one of the big 4 tower companies. Let's just call it SBA, Vertical Bridge, Crown Castle, or American Tower. One of those 4 knocks on your door. And they say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Landlord, there's a carrier that wants to lease space on your rooftop. Okay, and we saw you had a good site, and we want to, there's a carrier that wants to lease space there. So first thing that you should think about is, why is a tower company, a tower management company, knocking on your door with a carrier, right? These are not site acquisition companies. Like, these are the big tower companies. The carriers, they all have their own site acquisition contractors, right? So when a carrier is looking for a site, they're going to farm it out to one of these companies like SmartLink or whatever they're called. There's 1,000 different site acquisition contractors running around out there, and they'll farm it out to a third party, and those people will be the liaison between you and T-Mobile or Verizon or whoever. Okay, Dish. When a tower company is knocking on your door with a carrier, there's 2 reasons that they're doing that. Okay, the first reason is they have a site in mind, a ground lease in mind somewhere, and you are one of those competing locations, okay, that they could go to, or another carrier could go to, and they want to tie that property up. They want to tie you up with an option agreement that they have no intention of ever exercising. And that way, when the carrier is looking for the site, they say, well, American Tower or Crown or whoever already has an option on this rooftop, right? So they can't go there. It's already tied up. So that's one of the reasons that they want to tie you up with an option agreement, let's say. Another thing they try to do maybe is just to get a management contract and market the whole roof, to Dish or T-Mobile, whoever. And the problem is, you are the tower. If you have a high-rise, office building, you are basically the tower. You're the competition of, a Vertical Bridge or SBA or Crown or Verizon, right? So when you are doing a deal with them, it's not the same as doing a deal with Dish or doing a deal with AT&T. Because as a rooftop building owner, you are the tower company. You're always going to get a better deal with the carrier than if you went through a third party, right? The tower company gets rent from the carrier, and then they're going to split that with you probably, or it's going to be split in a certain proportion or ratio, whatever. But you're not going to get as good a deal with the tower company in there. The second thing, and I've done a few commentaries on this, there's always a conflict of interest. Like, so when you have a tower management company representing you against a carrier, right? The carriers have their hands, wide open, and they're going to these tower developers and tower companies and towers management companies looking for the next build-to-suit program, right? The tower companies are going to these carriers looking for the next build-to-suit program. Sorry if I mix that up here, but they want the next 500 sites in Texas, or the next 200 sites in New York or Florida or whatever, right? Or in Idaho. So if you're trying to negotiate a deal with, let's say, Verizon or AT&T, and you have ABC Tower Management Company representing you in that negotiation as you're the managing, the manager of that rooftop, are you really going to get a great deal? Like, you're probably not. The tower companies aren't going to fight the carriers, right? They're trying to get work from them, right? They want to get more towers to build. So, um, basic rule of thumb: if you have a building rooftop, you want to deal directly with the carrier on that. You don't want to deal with the tower company. Now, granted, a lot of these tower companies have very, very aggressive rooftop management programs, and I understand that. It's something that you could farm out to them. That's great, but again, when it comes down to like having a tower company negotiate on your behalf against Verizon or T-Mobile, or that's just a joke, right? I don't think you're not going to get a good deal. So if you've been contacted by a tower company to put a carrier on your rooftop, think twice about it, right? You can always go directly to that carrier, try to find out, be a little bit sneaky there, try to find out who they're building it for. They're not going to tell you in most cases, but they're just either trying to tie up your rooftop with no intention of leasing it, so they can prevent the carrier from going there, okay? Or they're trying to tie up the entire rooftop and just market it. But again, it's probably not the best to have a tower management company bring a carrier to your rooftop, which is the tower, which is their competition.